Undercarriage detailing. Everybody always asks how it's done and how to get the best looking undercarriage. Now that's fender liners, undercarriages, and anywhere underneath the vehicle that you want cleaned up. So I brought a Mustang out here. It's been to a few track days. The undercarriage is real dirty. We're gonna pull those wheels off, give the undercarriage a good scrubbing, dress it, and make sure it's protected for the next few months. So let's go ahead and take this Mustang out and show you exactly how to clean out the undercarriage. I got a lot of good tools here to show you how to do it right, so I'll explain each one before we get started. The first thing we're going to use today is our Signature Series Orange Degreaser. This is what we're going to use to scrub out the fender liners, clean off all the dirt, mud, tar, nasty stuff on the underside of the vehicle to make sure that it's all clean. Then we're going to go ahead and dress it up using our Bare Bones. Now our Bare Bones is our dark shine undercarriage spray. It gives the darkest look on any undercarriage, and it's going to make the fender liners on this Mustang look invisible. We're also going to use our Chemical Guys Diablo wheel gel. We're going to use this to clean my brake calipers. Diablo gel works great on brake calipers and suspension. So under here we're going to clean the Bilstein shocks, the springs, and we're going to clean the brake calipers using the Diablo wheel gel. After that, we're going to protect the brake calipers using our JetSeal 109. That way my brake calipers stay protected and look good all year round. We also got a few applicator pads right here. We're going to be using one of our fireman hose nozzles. We got one of our goat brushes, stiff handled, short handled brush, and a stiff handled or a soft flagged short handled brush. We're going to use this to scrub any types of brake calipers sensitive areas. So let's go ahead and get this Mustang up on jack stands, and we're going to take the wheel off safely to make sure it's perfectly clean. Let's do it. So let's start some undercarriage detailing. On most cars, you can actually do this with the car on the ground, or if you have a big truck, you don't have to jack it up. But I wanted you to get a full look of what I'm doing in here. So I jacked the car up, put it on jack stands, and took the wheel off. This is also a good way to do if you like to get a little bit more in depth in the cleaning. Remember, if you're gonna jack up your car, always do it safely. Use safe jack points on the vehicle, and also use jack stands. Do not get under the vehicle unless it's securely lifted up. I use strong jack stands, so my car is not going to fall down if there is a failure, and I'm always protected by the jack stands. Now that I took off the wheel, you can see I have a lot of dirt. Brake calipers are dirty, the Bilstein shock's really dirty, I have a lot of grease and road tar and road grime around here. Also, the fender liner on this car is completely dirty, has a lot of debris on here, hasn't been cleaned in about 1.5 years now, and it's just really, really disgusting. So let's start cleaning it up. Now the first thing I like to do is wet everything down. Now I'm going to do that today using a hose. I got one of our fireman hose nozzles on here, so it's going to give me a nice mist to go ahead and wet everything down. So I'm going to take my hose, I'm going to wet everything down. Notice our fireman hose nozzle does a great job of getting the pressure right in there. Okay. Now that I got everything wet down and lubricated a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and soak it all with orange degreaser. Now this is our Signature Series Orange Degreaser. It's diluted 10:1, so it's going to scrub out all this dirt and nasty stuff inside here. So let's turn on our sprayer and let's spray everything. Now I'm going to spray everything under here. I'm going to spray the fender liner. I'm going to spray the shock. There's a Bilstein shock. I'm not going to spray the brake caliper because I'm going to use another product for that. I'm also going to spray the springs, suspension, everything. Okay, perfect. Now, next step, I'm going to take my Diablo wheel gel. Now, Diablo wheel gel is actually designed to remove brake dust, and it's going to be perfect for my brake caliper. I'm going to use the Diablo wheel gel to clean the brake caliper and the brake parts because Diablo gel is sensitive on the brake parts. That means I'm not going to have any problems with brake squeal or ruining my brake pads because Diablo is safe on that. There we go. Now that's all done. So let's start with the brake caliper first. I'm actually going to go ahead and wet my brush. And I'm going to grab my goat brush. This is my goat brush that we sell here at Chemical Guys. And that's going to allow me to scrub down the brake caliper. There we go. You notice that the foam created by Diablo is perfect for scrubbing the brake caliper. You'll want to scrub it out real good. And you notice the foam is turning brown. That's because it's pulling off all the dirt and the brake dust and the nasty things. I like keeping my brake calipers really clean, and this works on powder coated calipers as well. These are painted black, but if you have like a Mitsubishi Evo, Subaru WRX STI, Porsche 911, any high-end vehicles, even Camaros or Mustangs, Corvettes, all have these nice powder coated brake calipers, and you want to make sure that they look very good when you're doing it. So let's start cleaning up all the stuff. I'm going to use the same brush to clean up my Bilstein shock. I want to make the Bilstein shock yellow again. Make sure it looks real good. We'll scrub up here too. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of orange degreaser on here. There we go. Clean all that nasty, nasty stuff. Clean the boot, clean the brake line, everything. You can scrub everything on the parts, even brake parts. Make sure it's all cleaned up and looking fresh. There we go. I'm gonna add a little bit more degreaser in here, and let's start cleaning the fender liner. Now to clean the fender liner, I'm actually gonna use one of our flag tip bristle brushes. A softer brush is gonna help me scrub the inside of this fender liner. So I'm gonna take my soft handle bristle brush and really scrub in there. This also works if you have one of those carpet type fender liners. This is a plastic fender liner deep inside here. So I wanna scrub it down, make sure it looks good in there. We're scrubbing off all that dirt. I mean, fender liners get really, really dirty, especially if you have a truck or an off-road car. This is great to do. Make sure that fender liner looks black. I like to go to car shows a lot, and I really do not like this Mustang's fender liners to look dirty. It's just nasty when it's dirty. And a little more degreaser in there, scrubbing it up. There we go, now we're done. Now look at the dirt that's being pulled off the brake caliper. We're getting all that dirt and that brake dust off, and that means that our brake caliper and all this stuff is gonna be good. Now before everything dries, I'm gonna take my water and I'm gonna hose off the whole inside of the fender liner. Hose off my shock, my brake caliper. I want to give a thorough rinsing in here. I want to use a lot of water. Use it very, very liberally because I want to make sure that everything's clean. There we go. Now that I got everything cleaned off, I'm going to do a few things before I let this dry, okay? I'm gonna first grab an older microfiber towel and I'm gonna start drying off my brake caliper. Look how good of a job the Diablo gel did on that brake caliper. It did not harm the painted surface. It left it smooth. It even cleaned all the brake dust off the rotor face. I don't really have to worry about this area that's behind the wheel. And it leaves markings from the wheel anyways, but I'm gonna go ahead and dry off my shock. And look how yellow it left the Bilstein. It left it nice, yellow, even cleaned the boot. If you have nice suspension like Bilsteins are expensive and you wanna really show them off when you go anywhere. So now I'm gonna take that same towel, I'm gonna go ahead and dry everything in here. This is an older towel I had lying around. It's on its last use. I was gonna throw it away, but it's great for drying the fender liners. It's one thing I gotta say that it's real good for. Notice how easy this is. You could do this on your big off-road truck, lifted vehicles, any type of car this is good for. I hate looking at dirty fender liners. This is a touch that you have to do maybe once, twice a year, but if I like taking my wheels off of my car because I get to clean the springs, I can clean down the sway bar, and it looks good. When I go to car shows, people look around and they know, wow, this person puts a lot of time into their car. And you know, if you detail the undercarriage, you'll put a lot of time into that. My main concern was getting the brake caliper clean and getting my shock and really the plastic fender liner, because once I dress this with bare bones, it's really gonna just look invisible. It's gonna have a nice dark shine and it's not gonna attract any grease and dirt. There we go. Now I'm gonna go to the other side really quick. I'm gonna wait about 5 minutes for this to dry while I do the other side, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna apply the bare bones and the sealant to the brake caliper. We'll see you in a few moments.
Fatality.
So now we've completed the cleaning of our undercarriage. We pulled the wheel off, we scrubbed the fender liner, cleaned the shocks, cleaned the brake calipers with Diablo, and now we're all ready for the dressing. Now all the cleaning was in preparation for applying Bare Bones. Now Bare Bones is a dark shine undercarriage spray. It's designed specifically for fender wells, undercarriages, subframes, springs, any area under the vehicle that you want to go black. So what it's going to do is it's going to make gray and black parts go invisible. So when the wheel's on the car, all this area just disappears and it looks like it was never there. So when you go to the car show, people look at your fresh paint and they don't look at the inner fender well. It also makes older parts like this old fender liner look black and rich again. This fender liner is from 1998. It's very weathered, but we're gonna make it look good with the Bare Bones. Now with the Bare Bones, I wanna go ahead and cover up my brake components. I only wanna cover up the brake components because I'm gonna be applying JetSeal to the brake caliper to protect it, so I don't wanna get any dressing on that. I'm gonna use a typical trash bag for that. It'll cover the brake calipers perfectly. There we go. That's perfect. Now our brake components are all covered up. Now to use our Bare Bones, first we want to do is clean it just like we did, and then we're going to go ahead and spray everything on the undercarriage. We're going to spray it real good and give a nice wet coat because it's going to dry and it's going to become invisible. So let's take the Bare Bones and I'm going to start spraying it over here. Now notice that the Bare Bones, a few sprays already starts making the undercarriage look black. That's what I really want to have. It also has a fresh grape smell. You know? I'm going to apply this very liberally because I want to get a nice coat and a nice coverage. Some people like to apply 2 coats of this. I like to go 1 coat really heavy and then go ahead and coat a little bit more later. I'm also going to spray my springs. There we go, my control arm. Make it look really good. There we go, easy, okay? Now I'm going to let this dry for a little bit. I'm going to go over to the other side and spray the other side too, and then we're going to come back and wipe down and reapply if needed. We'll see you in a moment. So now we've let Bare Bones dry and we have this beautiful dark looking fender liner. It's dry to the touch, it has no grease. Bare Bones is not a tire dressing that you spray on undercarriage. It's an actual undercarriage protectant. It leaves the undercarriage smooth and has a dark, rich look. It's also going to resist dirt longer than a traditional dressing because it's designed specifically for undercarriages. So if you have a big lifted truck or a lowered vehicle, it's going to make the undercarriage look deep, dark, and rich. Once we put the wheel back on, it's going to completely disappear and we're never going to notice it. Now I'm going to handle the last thing on here, and that's the brake caliper. I'm going to go ahead and use some JetSeal 109, and JetSeal 109s are ultimate protection for harshest elements. And I'm going to put this on my brake calipers because I like to use the JetSeal to help me resist any type of brake dust. So I have brake pads on this car which create a lot of dust, and I can easily put some JetSeal 109 on here to make it look great. There we go. Now I'm going to spread out the JetSeal on here, work it in. JetSeal requires a 20-minute dry time, so I'm going to wait 20 minutes and then I'm going to come back and wipe it off and remount the wheel. So I'll see you in about 20 minutes. So now it's time to wipe off our JetSeal. It's been 20 minutes and we're going to buff it off and expose a nice clean caliper. Even though these are painted calipers, they still work great with the JetSeal, and JetSeal provides great protection. If you guys get any JetSeal in any little cracks, microfiber towel works great at pulling off the JetSeal from any type of lettering or smaller areas, and it leaves a nice smooth finish. Now our brake caliper is smooth and protected, okay? Now I'm gonna go to the other side. I'm gonna buff off the other side. I'm gonna remount the wheels, and then I'm gonna show you guys how to torque them down. So we'll see you in a moment. So now that I've got the car down on the ground safely, I wanna go ahead and torque the wheels. This is a torque wrench. This is super important. If you're gonna be taking off wheels, you need to make sure that you torque your wheels to the exact factory specifications so your wheels don't fly off, you don't have any danger. This Mustang requires a 98 foot-pound torque setting. If you have some other car, like a Honda, BMW, Mercedes, check with your manufacturer for the proper torque setting. Whenever you torque a wheel, always remember to torque in a star pattern. So I'm going to torque in the star pattern to 95 foot-pound, or to 98 foot-pounds. There we go. There we go, we're all ready to go. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put all my tools away and we'll see you in a moment with the awesome results. So now we completed our awesome detail on this undercarriage. We got the inner fender well looking really black, and it looks so black it's even hard to see back there because the bare bones makes everything disappear. It really makes everything invisible and keeps it looking great. The bare bones is designed to resist dirt and debris and road tar and all that nasty stuff, so my inner fender wells on this car is gonna stay looking great. We got a lot more detailing to do on this Mustang. It's overdue for a detail, so we got a lot more parts to clean, but now we know that the dirtiest part of the car, which was the undercarriage, is all clean before we go on to the rest of the exterior. This process works on every type of car, truck, RV, and it even works on those big lifted off-road vehicles that have a lot of fender liners. So if you have a big diesel lifted truck or even a Jeep, you can easily clean the end fender liners using this method today. If you guys have any more questions about our products, you can check them all out on our website, chemicalguys.com. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel for more of these cool detailing tips and tricks. You can also find cool deals on our Facebook. And remember, have fun, stay clean, and keep on detailing. See you next time.